No, I appreciate y'all's time this morning. James, I've been with Aflac. Many of y'all may know, many of you may not know, but I've been with Aflac 26 years. I was in Kentucky with Les Kimbrough. Actually started in Macon, Georgia when Les Kimbrough recruited me there. Went up to Lexington, Kentucky, was there for 22 years. Spent 2 years as an associate, 4 years as a district, and 15 years as a region. Bought my own insurance agency and sold it to Northwestern Mutual. Moved back to Macon, Georgia, met Whitney Millwood, who some of y'all may know. We merged our offices together and ran basically Augusta, Savannah, and Brunswick, and then got the opportunity to take over the region in San Diego. So we've been running the region in San Diego for the last 3 years. Trip Amos was our market director in Georgia. And Trip, if you've ever met the dude, you can't help but love him. Great guy. And he had a different take on how we run our business. And for us, for regions in Georgia, he wanted us to run our regions like small VB agencies. And he always told us that, whether this is politically correct or not, he would say, hey, think about your agents getting licensed with other carriers like your kids in teenage sex. As much as you may like to think they're not going to do it, they're probably going to do it, okay? And so you can either stick your head in the sand and not be involved, or you can have an open dialogue conversation and be involved in it and help them through the process, and hopefully help them to avoid to make some mistakes. And so what we did back then was partner up with a company called Voluntary Benefits at Work out of Atlanta, Georgia. And it's Brian Ely and Tanya Lancaster. They're former Aflac regional managers, decided to go on their own, run their own enrollment firm. One of the carriers they were working with happened to be Transamerica, which I know a lot of people have gotten licensed with Transamerica to sell their product. But Brian and Tanya and VB at Work out of Atlanta are the largest life insurance producer for Transamerica in the country. We'll do probably $20 to $30 million in life insurance with Transamerica this year, mainly because they had a product that was a permanent life insurance product with a long-term care rider. Well, in Washington, that product is filed as a living benefit rider, so it does not qualify for the new Washington Cares Fund. So that's what got us to running our business a little bit more like an agency. And what we did was in Savannah and Augusta, and when we took over San Diego, we would use the Transamerica product because it was guarantee issue. We would tell the employer, we would go over the product with the employer. We could get up to a certain amount of GI, and the business owner liked that they wanted to get the long-term care coverage for themselves. In order to do that, we had to see every employee at the business, right? We either have to have a waiver or an application on every employee, or we can't guarantee issue it. And so we were able to take that product and go to our accounts that had poor penetration and get one-on-one enrollment conditions for the life product with Transamerica. And then, of course, at that time, we would enroll a ton of Aflac. And it was kind of like the old days when Aflac started dental. We knew we wasn't going to sell a whole lot of dental, but it was going to get us in front of a whole lot of people. We sold a bunch of accident and cancer and other stuff, right? So we used this as a book of business and an asset management strategy. And it was perfect timing, James, to hear you talking about the new agent bonus. And that's really, truly what we use this for, too. If I'm a DSC and I've got a book of business that's underpenetrated or inactive, I can use this play to get back in front of the employer and all the employees. I bring my new agent with me. Yes, we're going to write some of the life product, but we're also going to write a ton of Aflac. And then it was able to give me on-the-job training with my new associate, helping them to hit their marks, right? And, of course, being, if you're a good manager or a good DSC, not manager, but a good leader, if I knew I had one of our guys had a 50-man group to go to next week to enroll, and they were going to be putting the new life product in it, well, we would give that new associate an assignment, right? You have to call on so many groups or in so many do this, right? And then help them earn their way into coming in to help service that group. Well, as it worked out, we were the number 3 office when we were in Savannah in EAP in the country. As far as regions go, we were number 3 in the country in EAP. And at the time, the Southeast Territory was running a super fast start contest, and we were the number 1 region in the Southeast Territory in that contest as well, because we were able to take our new agents and get them into writing conditions right off the bat and get them one-on-one enrollment conditions with a group, and so they were able to write a ton of business. So I just say all that to kind of support what James is saying is the just being a one-trick pony anymore doesn't work, you know, and sometimes we have to have something else. And we use the Transamerica kind of like a value-added service, even though it wasn't. It was something we were getting paid for. We kind of used it like a value add. Now, we've also done other stuff as well, but we won't go into that. Let's fast forward into today. Well, I want to take in can you give me co-hosting ability, James? And forgive me if I'm snorting up a storm. I have got the worst sinus infection that is driving me crazy. Okay, let's see. Got it. All right. Let me pull this up for you. Okay, everybody can see. Can everybody see this now, James?
Yes.
Okay, so this, I just wanted to show you, this is our company, Voluntary Benefits at Work out of Atlanta. It gives you some information here. It's vbwork.com. It gives you some information on the company if you want to look it up. I always like to show this just to let you know that this isn't just me working out of my garage. This is Voluntary Benefits at Work. We're based out of Atlanta. We have subsidiary offices in San Diego and in Florida and Charleston and all over. Some of our partners, there's Tanya, who is the principal and owner, along with Brian Ely. There's Bob. Let's get down to the meat and potatoes, which is Laura out in Texas, Brandon West, who's in Georgia, and myself, who we run a satellite office in San Diego. So we have a staff of about 17 people back at the office in Atlanta that'll help support when we offer additional products. They're our GA, okay? Like a Benefit Small, like other GAs, they're going to provide the back office support. They can do case building, and they can support doing, if you needed to do any kind of full core enrollment and you needed any assistance that you can't get through Aflac. Aflac has tons of great tools that you should be using, and but if there's anything else that you need, by being contracted through us, you not only get this offering, but you also get the back office support to where if you needed to build out a case, if you need enrollers for a multi-location account, we'll help you and assist you in all of that, okay? But let's get to today. Washington, what about that? The payroll tax for long-term care kind of got thrown on everybody. And so we partnered up. We did a lot of research. There's only about a handful of carriers that will even write it. Aflac's policy does not qualify. Colonial's doesn't. Transamerica, which we write a ton of, Transamerica does not qualify. And if you wrote the Transamerica products before that had the living benefit rider that you use for long-term care, those products do not qualify under this tax. So if you have employees or businesses out there that you ever sold the Transamerica long-term care to, the life product with the living benefit rider, you need to go back and look at those, because if it's a living benefit rider, it doesn't qualify. And I talked to the people at Transamerica, and they said, yeah, those don't qualify. So if you're wanting to actually be able to service your client, then you would need to take them a product that does qualify so they can avoid the tax. Otherwise, the ones you've sold so far that do have it, they won't qualify under the Washington State payroll tax. So your main players out there are Trustmark, all right, and they're in the over 100 life market. You have Chubb, which is in the over 100 life market. You have Unum, which is in the over 100 life market. And you have Allstate. Of those, Allstate is the only carrier that will go below 100 lives. So for most of our Aflac people, and I work with Aflac people in Georgia, in Kentucky, in Texas, obviously in California now with y'all, you know, the products that we mainly need are that under 100 life product. Most of our agents write groups between 3 to 100 lives. So what the GI offering we have is guarantee issue, no health questions, as long as 5 people participate, and they get up to $75,000 worth of permanent whole life insurance with the long-term care rider. Okay.
Rock.
Now, yes.
You got a question over here.
Real question, real quick. So when did Transamerica come out and say that it won't qualify?
Yeah. So I can get you a memo from Transamerica, but their life product in Washington State will not qualify. Now, as far as would it qualify to go into a long-term care facility and to be able to trigger and get benefits? Absolutely. However, to meet the qualifications of the payroll tax, from what I've read, what I've been told by Transamerica and by our group rep, it doesn't qualify.
Because I was just told the exact opposite of that yesterday, where
okay,
America's
and where did you get that from?
World Financial Group, WFG.
World Financial Group. Okay. Maybe they have a product on the individual side, which is what World Financial Group does more of. You know, Transamerica is Transamerica Employee Benefits, Transamerica Financial, and Transamerica Individual. If it's an individual long-term care policy, that one very well may qualify. I'm talking about only.
It is individual. It's not group. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That one very well may qualify. What I'm talking about is in their employee benefits division, which is where we've sold in groups. On the individual side, yeah, it very well probably will qualify. And the only we're just doing group because we've got the guarantee issue. They don't have to go through underwriting. They don't have to go through all of that stuff. It's done right there at the group, and it's guarantee issue. But yeah, a great question. Thank you for clarifying that.
I appreciate that. No, thank you. I think group is contagious anyway, right?
Right. All right. So Allstate, let's go back to Allstate, right? So they have a product that is a whole life product. It's guarantee issue up to $75,000, and it does have the rider that does qualify. James, I sent you the memo from Allstate where their legal department said, you know, their product did qualify. But I'll resend that out if you need me to, but I did send it out before for every one of you to have. It's the legal document or from their legal department that says, hey, our product qualifies. Okay. And I think that's important for you to have. So when you go to your client and they're like, well, how do we know this is going to meet the criteria? Look, the best we can do is from the legal department at the insurance company saying it qualifies, right? And other than that, we don't write the laws. And so we looked at the partnership we have with Allstate, and you know what? With Allstate, we can go down to 5 lives, and we can do as large a group as you want to do. I was working with one of the colonial offices in Washington, and they just did a 1,300 life case with Allstate. So we can go to any group size as large as you want to, and we can go down as small as 5 lives. And so instead of you having to try to figure out which carrier is going to be the best fit for this group or this group, you know, we thought it was just best if we went with the one carrier that can cover all the groups. Now we're working on a tool right now, James. We haven't got it finalized yet, but basically it is a formula that we developed that you can sit down as long as you get a census from the employer with the employee's income, and you can put it into the formula, and it'll tell you which ones should consider going into the Allstate life product with long-term care versus going with the Washington State payroll tax. For some people, it'll be a better deal for them to go into the payroll tax. For others, it's better if they go into the life program. Okay. And so we're working on that. They said we should have it completed by Monday. There was another person that approached us with this formula, but they wanted to take 25% of everybody's commissions, and we told them, go pound sand. We got somebody else to develop it without it. Yes, KSBS.
Is there an age limit for the GI?
Goes up to 70.
Bottom. So we can go ahead and write 18 through,
Yes.
through 30. Okay.
Yeah. And so anyway, the Allstate product, it's a guarantee issue. Now, with the Allstate product, how do you enroll it? Okay. It has to be enrolled on either Navigator, right? It's already preloaded on Navigator. But if you enroll it on Employee Navigator, which is fine, it's preloaded and preset for $50,000. Because if I was just an agent off the street that came to work for Allstate, I would get the underwriting offer of $50,000 GI, and it would have to be 10 lives. I'm sorry, 6 lives. But with our offer, we got 75,000 down to 5 lives. Okay, so if you enroll it on Navigator, totally cool, totally fine, no problem. You just can't go on Navigator above 50,000. So if you have a case that you're going to be implementing this and you are going to put it on Navigator, then if that person wants over the GI amount, you have to enroll it on paper. Okay, now that's just how it is. Right now, we have had them create, and I've got it, and James, I'll email this to you. We have our own application that they've created for just this product. So you'll have that. If you do enroll it on paper, unlike Aflac, you can just scan it and email it. You don't have to put it on a transmittal. You can send it into Aflac and hope to God the mail department gets it and doesn't lose it. And you don't have to go back out and refill it out again, because I've done that a few times. And you don't have to worry about that. We'll scan it and email it. And here's how it works. We have our own case manager and group rep. And she's trying to hop on the call today, but she had other calls too. So she may hop on here in a little bit. Her name's Katie. But anyway, we have our own rep who is assigned to VB at Work. Y'all will be under the GA agreement of VB at Work. So you have your own case rep. So what that means is when you do your enrollment, you will send that in, and that group case rep will basically create a post-enrollment follow-up, so to speak, right? Here are all the people you enrolled. Here's the amount of coverage. We can process it and make sure they all issued. If for some reason an email got lost or an app got lost, we just re-email it back. But they will actually go through and make sure all your apps have been processed. And then you can just focus on going out and selling. Okay. So product-wise, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So earlier you were saying, you have a calculator or something of the such where you put in your income and it tells you whether or not it'd be better to go for, a product or go with the state. Now, what situations would you want them to go with the state?
That's a good question.
Well, with just the formula, it's a matter of looking at how much they're going to pay in, what their income is versus what the premium would be for their actual insurance coverage. It could be a situation where you have an older individual where their coverage is going to cost way more than they have a low income, and the tax is a lower dollar amount. So in the end, they would be paying less to get an equal benefit because of their age and so forth. But the actual spreadsheet and the formula will figure that out for you. Here's my thoughts on the formula though. My income can change over the next 5 to 10 years, right? And with the payroll tax, I have to pay into it for so long before I'm even eligible. And if I look at what my premium dollars are right now, especially if I'm a younger person and I can get the life insurance with the long-term care at a lower rate, then I'm hoping my income goes up over the years, right? And it's still the same 0.58% per $100 of payroll. So if I make $100,000 or $200,000, I'm going to start paying a heck of a lot more than what I would have paid for my life coverage. So we have a formula. I'm just going to say, for me personally, I don't know. I struggle with that sometimes because so many things can change over the years, especially with your income.
On the life policies, are they like indexed or excuse me, whole life?
It's whole life.
Okay, perfect.
It's not it's not an IUL. It is a true whole life product.
Okay, cool. So it builds cash value. They put it into it, which is arguably way. I mean, the state's plan is garbage. Let's just be frank about it. So
$100 a day benefit with a $36,500 lifetime max in the state of Washington would get you about 4 months worth of long-term care coverage, maybe. So
garbage.
I don't know. I mean, I think this is just they need to raise tax dollars. They got to help fund that long-term care fund that's running out because they depleted it, and this was just a money grab.
And then in the state, you have to lose three of your abilities, like bathing yourself or eating or what have you.
Yeah.
Long-term care policies, it's only 2. You have to lose 2.
Right. That's correct. So here's the thing with the state fund or state plan you have right now. Yes, you hit the nail on the head. I've got to have 3 ADLs to even qualify, whereas with the life product, I have to have 2. And also, too, think about it. When are they eligible? When are they eligible to start using the benefit from the Washington State Fund?
After 10 years.
Right. So I'm paying into this thing. I can't even use it. And what happens if next year or in 2 years from now I die? The Washington payroll tax, I got nothing. At least with this, I can buy $75,000 worth of life insurance, and if I died, my family's getting $75,000 worth of life insurance. So also from a marketing standpoint, now when you go into those groups and people already have life insurance and they're going, well, I've already got life insurance. Well, it doesn't have long-term care. This one's going to do both. And if you look at what you're paying in premium for your life plus what you're paying in the payroll tax, are you better off, or wouldn't you be better off to put that money in this Allstate Life program with the long-term care? And so, I could buy this coverage, right? In January the 2nd, I could die, and my family's going to get a benefit. And with the other, I could pay into it for 10 years, and my family never receive a benefit. I could never receive a benefit. That's possible. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a return of premium rider that comes along with this?
No, ma'am.
There is, but you have to die.
Okay.
Out. Cash it out into money.
Would they be able to use the entire $75,000 for long-term care, or like 80%?
Yeah, they can use the full amount for long-term care. Where this product too is different. Like if any of you have ever sold another life product, like the Transamerica, right? The Transamerica product had the extension rider. So if I bought $100,000 worth of life insurance through Transamerica, then I could buy an extension benefit, which would double my benefit. So I would have $100,000 worth of life insurance. I would have $200,000 worth of long-term care benefit. But that's not how this product works. This product it's the same face amount as your life insurance, okay? And for any of you that have ever sold the Transamerica as well, if you'll remember, if I burn up, to your point, if I burn up all the benefit on my Transamerica long-term care, so I used up all $200,000 in benefit, it still had a paid up life program that was 25% of the face amount of the life insurance, right? So you still had a $25,000 life policy. That's not this product, okay? So this product, it is whatever the face amount of the life insurance is, that's the face amount of the long-term care, okay? And it's not a paid-up life policy either. But that was unique to the Transamerica product. Wish it was available here, but I think there was some foresight. I think they saw this coming down the road and changed their riders, because a lot of the insurance companies, as y'all well know, don't want to write this policy. They do not want to write these coverages. The underwriters are scared to death about what's going to happen. A lot of your insurance companies pulled out. Some of the insurance companies even went to saying, okay, we'll sell it, but if it charges off in the first 12 months, we're going to charge you back all 12 months commissions. So,
they
what's that?
Charges back in the first 2 months. I've heard a couple of companies charge you up to 3 years for chargeback.
Yeah.
What?
So do you think they want you to sell the product? No, not at all. So what we're going to, with this product, we're doing it as earned. Okay. This is not your living money, right? Aflac is your bread and butter. This will be your set it aside. It's going to build over time. It's going to be paid as earned. The next thing you know, you're going to be making some pretty good money on those monthly statements. But the one thing we want to avoid is chargeback. And the concern right now, because of the way the law is written in Washington, there's no provision on the back end to check to see if these people kept their policies. They have to show proof that they have coverage come November the 1st, right? But what if in 6 months from now they drop their coverage? And that's one of the things the insurers are scared of. And so to be a little cautious as agents, we want to write it all. We're going to write it all as earned. If it charges off, we didn't get paid for it anyway. If they keep it 5 months, we got paid 5 months. If they keep it for 10 years, fine. But we don't want to get in a situation where you guys go out and are doing a good thing. You're providing a service and you're providing a product to help your people. And then all of a sudden they start dropping coverage because they realize they've got a loophole in the law. So we just want to be cautious of that. Okay.
Do you have a quote sheet?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to do is I will email out to James all of that along with all the product information and so forth. But yes, and we have already. So again, you remember with Aflac and Transamerica and other carriers, you have to get an SIC code when you're setting up the group. We have to do the same thing on the life. And so we have standard shelf rates that right now you could take them to your group and say, hey, here's what it's going to be. Probably we need to check your industry rating to make sure it doesn't change. But this is going to be standard for most, 95% of the groups. And my rep at Allstate has said, Brock, I've never had a group that didn't qualify. So we just have to legally say that. But here are the shelf rates and take those and run with them. Once you get your group and we set it up, then, it could change. But the rep says she's not ever seen one change. So I'll make sure, James, you've got those shelf rates so that you could go out right now today, go to a group and say, here's the product, here's what it's going to cost. But yes, we do have those shelf rates.
What are the commissions? Let's just
the commission. Get to the point, will you? It's 60% commission on the product. So it's pretty standard with most of your life products out there, but it'll be 60% commission. Contracting, the way it'll work is it'll go through VB at Work. But contracting wise, Allstate has said they will take care and do all the contracting for all of our people. They didn't want us getting bogged down with that. So our group rep will take care of all the contracting. Also too, it's a little bit different. You have to set groups up with different carriers. If you've worked with different carriers, they all have a different way of setting their groups up and a different process. So for you, we are having all of that done by our All-State group rep. Okay. Instead of you having to try to figure out all of that, what we're going to do is get basically the new group form, get it to the people at All-State, our group reps, and let them set the groups up so that, again, you can focus more on running your business and not trying to figure out how to set up a life group for All-State. Okay. And we've hired, Whitney and I have hired a third-party company that handles doing that as well.
Hey, Brock, is there any background fees or contract fees?
Not to my knowledge, James. I'll verify that, but not to my knowledge.
If I'd like to ask a question, James, that was exactly what I was going to ask. When I first heard about this law, I went to Axia, and they were going to charge me a boatload of money for the software, and they had all these hoops. So yeah, that was my question too. Is there
and
software
and Action would be another GA, you know, that's offering that product. So
what is an average premium? I mean, if you were to run it from 18 to 70 and just took the average, what would a premium be? So we can just get an idea of what our 60% is for this product.
Sure. Actually, I'll get in here and pull it up for you. I do not have that memorized off the top of my head.
Oh, that's fine.
But hold on, we can pull it up for you. If you have, just while I'm looking for this, if you do enroll it on Solarix, there are many platforms that you can enroll it on. And James, I'm going to email out to you so you can distribute it to your team, all the different platforms that this works with. Solarix, because you can actually put the underwriting questions on Solarix, then they can go up to 250,000 on Solarix, but only 75,000 of it would be GI. And then anything over that, there would just be a couple of questions they would have to answer. So another point to you is you can sell up to $250,000 worth of coverage. Only 75,000 of it is GI. Okay.
That's out at 50.
So for a 18-year-old individual, it is for 25,000. For 25,000, it's $12.80 a month. A month. If I go up to a 50-year-old and I do the same 25,000, it's $56.94, or basically $57 a month.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that last one?
Yeah. For a 50-year-old, $25,000 worth of coverage is $56.94.
But you're saying, and that qualifies for the state of Washington? 25,000 versus their 36.5 for long-term care?
According to what we have, that will qualify. If they want to take up to 70, so let's just say you wanted to do 50 or 70, even if you did 70,000, let's look at this is a tobacco rate. You want tobacco or non-tobacco?
None.
Okay, let me go back up here. Non-tobacco, 70-year-old. You're talking about, if they were a 70-year-old, it's $659 a month. So, you know,
$659 a month.
A month. That's right. That's where, like, looking at the formula, if I looked at the formula, if I only make $35,000 a year, I'm better off to go with state plan, right? And so, yeah. But I've got the rate book for you, and again, I'm gonna email it out to James, and he'll be able to distribute that out to y'all. But yeah, I mean, that's why the formula it's helpful, because there are some people that they're like, really trying to figure out, is it worth their while or not? And you look at somebody like that and it's like, yeah, for sure. If you're spending $700 a month, it might be okay just to go ahead and hop into the tax. But I see we do have Katie on here. Katie is our Allstate rep, and she will be our go-to person. There's also her counterpart here in Washington that she'll be able to work with as well. But Katie, if you just want to say hey and introduce yourself really quick to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Brock, for having me. Sorry I'm a little late, guys. I had another call this morning. But my name's Katie Lindholm. I've been with Allstate Benefits for about 7 years now. I am based locally out of the Atlanta office, and I work closely with voluntary benefits at work. I've been here for about 3 years, and prior to this, I was in Kentucky and Tennessee for 3 years. And then before that, I was in our home office actually for 18 months of training. So I've got a good background experience with Allstate and have some good relationships internally to help make sure that your business is processed securely and is flowing through, and that we also get you some good service on your business too.
And Katie, if you would go over just the underwriting offer again. It's a $75,000, and as far as I was explaining, enrollment process on Navigator, we can go up to 50 if we want to go over 50 on Navigator. If you will, just kind of go over that again with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So DB at Work has been a close partner of ours, and so our underwriting team was able to put together a special underwriting offer for the agency and all the agents underneath them. It's $75,000 of guaranteed issue life insurance on our whole life product and on our universal life and our term to 100 life product. The whole life and the universal life are the ones with the long-term care. So 5 applications, $75,000, and we'll be able to issue that case, which is pretty significant because typically, even for our small cases, we need at least 6 applications. And then for our larger cases, we typically are looking somewhere for 20% of participation. So it was something that we were able to provide for voluntary benefits at work. We do have our group whole life integrated on the Navigator system. It is a limited plan because Navigator is only able to hold a few of the rate tables. So it's a $10,000 up to $50,000 plan in Navigator. It can be ready pretty quickly because it is in the marketplace, and we are set up on the data exchange in the back end. So every Monday, the files will feed over to us automatically after that first open enrollment file. If you have a group where you do want to try to sell that full $75,000 and not be capped at 50, we have paper applications that we can take. We have our Solaric system and our own Solaric builders in-house. The only caveat with the Solaric system is that we do need a full 15 business day lead time in order to get that built. And then we are also working on getting a full $75,000 benefit created customly on Easy Apps Online. I don't have an update on that, but it is something that I'm making a request and exception for right now.
And Katie, if you would, just for them, explain what the Easy App is.
Yeah, Easy Apps Online, it's a simple app taker. I'm sure a lot of your brokers have already heard about it. If you guys haven't already heard about it, it's been around for quite a few years. It's not a full HRIS system, but we have been able to build out our small market solution plans in the Easy Apps Online system so that it really doesn't take any build time. It's really just another version of a Navigator, Ease, simplified DIY technology system that you're able to take apps in that feed over on a file directly to Allstate at no cost. And so because we have that small market solutions already built out on there, which is that whole life from 10 to 50,000, we've been able to try to work with them to get special contracts approved and special case builds approved to try to take that up to 75,000 for certain brokers. So we have it right now for one broker, and then you guys are the second exception request that we've placed in.
Very good. James, other questions, or where would you like to go from here?
About how we get contracted, the process.
Okay. Katie, how do we want to do James, you just want to send a list of who you want to get contracted with their name, email address, phone number. Katie, what else would we need to start it?
Yeah, so I actually have a spreadsheet created that I've given to Christy at the home office in Atlanta.
Okay.
And I can give it to you, Brock, or I can send it to you, James, directly with what we need for what we're looking for to get people appointed. Once we receive that appointment paperwork back, so it's an electronic packet that'll come to your email. Once we receive it back, it takes 5 to 7 days for us to go ahead and completely process it after your supervising agent has signed off on it. And that can be done in advance of the case. It doesn't have to be once you have a case. So we can go ahead and get moving on that right now. There's no fee for it and there's no production minimums required with it. If we don't have any applications or any production under that number, it'll just terminate in 2 years.
So real quick, nice to meet you, Katie. My name is Alex Watkins, and
You as well.
I've already contracted with you guys. Pretty funny. I did a bunch of third-party enrolling last year when everyone was stuck at home. I got to go on Zoom. That was really fun. But I've got 3 meetings next week with 3 different companies that want to implement long-term care. And I've put together like a portfolio of like the gold standard, silver standard, bronze standard, or what. But for the most part, they're all individualistic policies. So this is obviously almost a better strategy going forward because it is group. So I guess what would I need? Would I need just a census to send you with their annual income? Is that it?
Are you asking for getting a quote?
Yes.
Yep, to get a quote, what I'll need is if you have a census, that's great. You need basic demographic data on the census, not necessarily the incomes unless you do have that. I'll also need the SIC code. Obviously the state, which I assume for everybody is going to be Washington with the push that you guys are putting in there, and then the platform that you're intending on enrolling in.
And then how do I get does Allstate have their own version of the SIC code? Like I would have to fill out something and then put it back. Generally takes what, 24, 48 hours?
No, we're just doing that to make sure that it's an industry that we're okay with from a risk perspective so that they're not like, I had one group that actually came to me a few years ago that they were dynamite haulers, and obviously that one was not allowed to be approved. So we're just doing that to make sure that it is industry correct. Technically, this product is supposed to be industry rated. I'll say in the 3 years I've been selling it since it's been out, I haven't seen the rates vary by industry, but I just want to make sure that since technically it's supposed to be industry rated, that I'm putting that in and getting you a quote by industry in case there's any deviation from those rates at all.
And I think the question too is where do we get that? Where do they get the SIC?
So that can be pulled. I typically, if I don't have an SIC code, I'm looking up the group name and address and putting it into Google. There's siccode.com. It can be on Manta. So if the group doesn't know their SIC code, because sometimes they don't, but typically they will have to know it for disability coverage, then there are ways to research it and Google it.
I'm guessing it's the same rating Aflac uses, like A, B, C, D, E, right?
No, Alex, no, you're going to want to use the same SIC code we have to use for the network dental and vision. It's the
Yeah, like when you look it up in Manta, you put in the group, put it in Manta, you scroll down, you'll see it's got 87162 or whatever. That's their code, and then that's assigned to a certain industry.
Yeah, and the SIC code is a 4-digit code. So when you're looking at it, you'll see the NCSIC, which is 6 digits, and the SIC is 4.
Yeah.
Cool. Good. Well, you guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. I think that's it for now. That's definitely wet our whistles. And we're going to be making sure that we get most of our people that have been on this call at least. And then I know there were others that wanted to be on it, but they're camping or whatever. So I've did this and I'll send that out to my team. Brock, if you can just send I need to get people up and running.
Yeah, we'll do.
Fantastic.
And James, not to interrupt, but man, and Katie, close your ears, okay? Katie knows that this is, look, we're working with multiple carriers here, right? And hopefully, we all know if we work together, the pie gets bigger. And we're not competition against each other. We're all trying to help each other. We're going to help Katie and Allstate, but it's also going to help Aflac. Think about this. Think about how many new groups right now you could go to and approach. Every one of them's got to have it. So you can lean in with this, right? Lean into it. Hey, this is going to be here for the long-term care solution. Oh, by the way, we have this special offering because of our book of business at Aflac. And you then go into, these are the Aflac products. You're already going to be seeing the employees anyway. You can get 2 carriers in, multiple lines of coverage, and be the agent on all of it, making yourself stickier in that group. And then start looking at like all your farmers agents in the area. How many P&C groups do they have? Workers' comp group, commercial liability. They've got to have this. You take it to them with a solution with Allstate, and then double punch it with, we're also going to enroll the Aflac accident, cancer, critical illness, disability. Man, you could use this to really be a gateway to just open up a boatload of groups.
Absolutely.
I think new groups right now in Washington are going to spike over the next 4 months.
For sure. And we've got the in on this, so let's take advantage of it for sure. That's how I wanted you to get.
All right.
And Brock, I'm
James,
not
thank you
sure-
so much.